Pillars of Glass and Blue await the heroes in the Nexus here as we continue things for the mid-season brawl for Heroes of the Storm, as we're about to go into our third series of the day. Welcome back to the Analysis Concave as we continue things down the line here for more awesome games. I am joined by Grubby, Techa, as well as Jay Howe next to me again. Hello.
I love the fact that I don't look as gigantic over there, but I look gigantic because I'm next to you.
I mean,
it's not so bad. Perspective's good.
Yes, precisely. I'm glad I'm closer to the camera than not. Yeah, that would not go well. So, of course, we have our next match coming up, gents. It's going to be SPT going up against MVP. And overall, what we saw from SPT yesterday, they did get defeated by Australia. And so far, as much as, yes, they have come in as a replacement, let us remind people of that, it wasn't the best start for them so far.
Yeah, their shot caller, their tank, is currently missing. So they're trying to fight to qualify into the second stage so that they can reunify with him and have their actual performance that they hope to show. So for SPT, this is very much a struggle for survival here. They're trying to do as well as they can under the conditions. And they fell against a very strong-looking Nomia, but MVP Black, they're not without a little bit of error either.
No, being taken down already in their first game. They were able to bring it back in the end, but we're seeing that some of these Korean teams, some of these teams that we thought would be almost indestructible, they have flaws. They are vulnerable.
I think the thing to keep in mind is with the round-robin tournament is that it's important for MVP Black. Yes, we expect them to be top 4, but it's important to come out and win both games. And I think they have to look at that in all series going forward, because you think that Roll20 might drop a game or two, possibly against Fnatic, things like that. And so if you're playing for positioning, you're playing for points essentially with the round-robin thing, is that you don't want to have that minor slip-up, because it's important. You get a bonus point, for people that aren't familiar with it, you get a bonus point if you win both games. If you go 1-1, you get 1 point per game. So I think it's really important to make sure not to have those minor slip-ups. And it's 2 games. It's it.
A lot of what we saw from SPT in their first series was a focus on double support. Now it seems like trying to catch MVP Black off guard, similar to what we saw from Roll20 yesterday, is probably your best strategy at this phase in the tournament. But is double support something that's going to catch them off guard? I don't think it's the way to like trump an MVP Black. Is that a fair assumption?
I think it's pretty fair to say. Like we see double support coming out of a place of strength sometimes with a hyper carry. It'll be very aggressive. It'll be to allow a kind of like a glass cannon, someone who has very high damage output but very low survivability to be able to shine. We see that. But oftentimes we also see teams that maybe are a little bit weaker to come out with double support because it covers for their mistakes. They're taking too much poke damage, they're taking too much random damage, and then they want to out-heal that. So it very much depends what kind of approach you take with it.
Well, before we talk about Super Perfect Team further, of course, we do have them almost ready to go. So the second team alongside E-Star here, representing China, of course. Let's take a further look at SPT.
我们团队的强点应该是在于什么英雄都敢用吧，然后各种打法风格什么的也都会一点。因为下午采访的时候也说过了嘛，就是我们 BP 手跟那个就是占领我们 SPT 一半实力的那个男人不在，就是这次我们是先进8强再说，然后撑到他过来。缺点就是可能是我们缺点就是有些时候就是可能是个人技术上面会有点比较容易失误吧。就是从风暴英雄这个游戏的角度来说，我觉得最重要的是那个团队的气氛。 因为这是个5个人的游戏嘛，就不像别的游戏那种凸显个人特色。就这个是首先你要团队一定要合得来，然后再去谈其他的。
I can't remember myself in the history of Heroes of the Storm rooting for a Chinese team as much as I am for SPT right now because of the fact that they just want to get to the playoffs to have Misaka with them for a potential triumph. It's crazy.
We want to see them there because why would we not want to see one of the best teams in China not at their full potential? We absolutely want to see them with Misaka. We want to see them in that situation. Super Perfect Team at this point might as well stand for single-player team because they want him so bad.
I mean, that being said, of course, though, Simba has been with the team for a long time. He's filling in admirably here for the team. It's just that Misaka is such an important aspect of their composition as a whole.
Yeah, definitely true. You can't understate enough how much of a difference that makes. Not to take away from any team that loses to them or defeats them, but when you look at the difference that it makes sometimes to have a shot caller dictate everyone's moves, you do have a lot of different degrees of shot calling in Heroes of the Storm team. Sometimes it'll be like, all right, guys, you know what to do. Go do your thing. I'll tell you when it's time to group up and do something nice together. But other times, there's a shot caller and he says, you go there, you go there. And it really depends like on the experience level sometimes of some of the other members. And I feel like Misaka's role was rather large.
I look at it as well as that he's that front liner, and that a lot of times when you're on this stage, your margin for error is very slim. And you fall into these categories of you know when to follow your tank. You're familiar with this. You're very familiar with the people that you're playing against, and you follow that leader. And if you have a different leader and it's slightly off, your margin of error all of a sudden it's razor thin, because you can't afford to make those small mistakes. And the familiarity, I think, of having that on the front line and your shot caller and your front line tank, I mean,
definitely.
That's a big role. I mean, if you're just backline and you're swapping somebody out to say follow the leader, that's a lot easier. But if it's the leader, all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, like I'm following somebody different.
Yeah. Changing shot caller can take months to get used to. They have had days, so they are really surviving on a knife's edge here, and they need to get some points in order to give themselves that chance.
But if you just dare to dream for a sec, can you imagine Misaka coming on his late visa, his late flight, he checks his mobile phone and he's like, huh? My team won 2-0 without me? Against MVP Black? Okay, carry on.
I'll just sit here. I'll enjoy. Where's the popcorn? This will be great.
Just turns up at the event just like, you don't need me. The power's inside you the entire time.
Can you just imagine he gets to the airport, he reaches it, and he just books a flight right back?
Don't need me, clearly.
It's all good. It's all good. Well, of course, a small margin for error on this stage. And, of course, going up against a world champion, a previous world champion in MVP Black can always be a tough one. Let's hear from them.
저희 팀 장점이 좀 일단 상대적으로 저희 팀보다 좀 약한 팀한테는 그 약간 역전의 여지 없이 무자비하게 좀 찍어 누르는 그런 경기력을 잘 보여주고요. 그리고 연습 때랑 경기 때랑 별로 기복이 없다는 게 가장 큰 장점인 것 같아요. 저희 팀의 주요 선수는 아무래도 원거리 딜러를 맡고 있는 리세 선수가 가장 크게 작용할 것 같아요. 리세 선수가 좀 기복이 없는 편은 아닌데 조금 있긴 하거든요. 제가 봤을 때 그때 좀 정말 잘할 때는 그 어떤 누가 오든 상관없이 그냥 진짜로 혼자서 다 죽일 수 있는 기량을 막 뽐내더라고요. 그래갖고 리세 선수가 좀 굉장히 많이 잘해줬으면 좋겠어요. 일단 저희 팀 예상 순위는 좀 아마도 상위권에는 있을 것 같은데 그래도 저는 약간 은퇴선을 이미 한 상태잖아요. 그래서 최대한 우승을 하고 싶고 우승을 했으면 좋겠네요.
Always great to hear from Meriday there from MVP Black. As we do full well know, this will be his last professional tournament for this run at least. And that's something that is very powerful. Yesterday, they were surprised when it came to going up against Roll 20. And I think since then, since they're having that kind of almost shell shock experience, I think they're going to be very hungry today.
When I think about this team, Meriday actually just made the comment of when we're playing a team that's not as good as us, and I think right now they're looking across and they're saying this team's not as good as us, we know how to finish. They have one of the fastest, the lowest average game times. But I want to go to the point that he made about reset, right? So I watched this team extensively. There's a lot that I watch because I wanted to see how these players would fill in. It's almost weird because you think, all right, we need to make sure that he said sometimes if he's on and he's dominant, he'll destroy people, but sometimes he's off. And that was one of the things that I noticed sometimes in teams fighting. It's like sometimes his focus targeting would be different than what the team would be. And MVP Black is known to collapse. And it's weird because it's better than basically everybody else in the world. Yeah. So how do you really nitpick something like that? But when you're as good as this team, they expect greatness from every single person on this roster.
In yesterday's series, he was actually one of the only players I've ever seen who is managed to, like they said, be that crushing player who can absolutely dominate and sometimes not on point. In the same game, in one case, I'm sure we were all very familiar with the reset Genji E, where he got severely outplayed by Malfurion.
Killed Leoric trying to get Mal from Battlefield of Eternity at the keep wall.
Yeah, Mal just ice blocks and
he's
like
behind the gate.
That's good stuff. Of course, we need to take a look at the maps as well, and it will be Infernal Shrines and then Battlefield of Eternity if we need it. Seems like, is that Sky Temple that was banned out first?
It is.
And then, of course, Brax's Holdout as our second ban. So we're going to be on Infernal Shrines first. I think it's important to keep stating the fact that as much as the last year, when we look at Korea, was very much so the story of L5, MVP Black are still now the the Eastern Clash champions. So coming in here, they still have all the weight of the world to just kind of push forwards here and actually take themselves a title. But we're going to be going into game number 1. Here comes the draft as we start with an Uther ban.
Just to quickly exaggerate on what you have, MVP Black have the most titles out of any team that has existed in Heroes of the Storm.
They've won the most money. They're almost at $800,000, and that's on winnings alone.
Yeah, excluding the salaries they're getting for the HGC at this point. So they are doing well.
I want to point out that, which the people at home may not be seeing as much, there's very good atmospheres here for both teams. We see a lot of laughter. This always indicates people are happy to play, relaxed, and that's always a good sign for the coming up level. So I'm getting excited about this one. It's going to be a Vala ban and a Uther ban. Vala ban, not something you would see between two European teams at this moment, but Vala is very highly valued in China, both in picks and bans.
The Genji, first pick to Perfect Team, ran it in the last week of HGC China, and a Sonya, also a hero that they've been known to run, even when a lot of the other teams in China weren't on this map in particular. It has had some insane play. It's incredibly hard to deal with in the top lane, as we know. It is against Dehaka, most likely the solo lane hero for MVP Black, so that is quite a difficult matchup. But Super Perfect Team Sonya is something that should absolutely be feared.
I think this is the first Sonya this tournament.
It is. Which is cool.
This indeed is one of the stronger battlegrounds just because of the shrine clear, but I always kind of look at Kyocha's hero in terms of what they want to do with him. And Dehaka obviously might be that role, but at the same time, with Sonya on that front line, a lot of times we see teams go into some type of CC to deal with that, because the minute Sonya starts whirlwinding, she heals up, especially on heroes, and so you try and find ways. But traditionally, we see a lot of Tyrael out of MVP Black, especially on this battleground. I wonder if they're comfortable going up against that Sonya, or they go into the Anubarak. I like this pick. It's different than the norm of MVP Black, and I like the change-up.
But great potential for those stuns, as you're mentioning.
They've gone for lots of CC. Silences and Polymorphs are the only, and Fears, sorry, the only 3 bits of CC that aren't affected by Sonya's Wrath of the Berserker. So the Malfurion already, despite also being the best support currently available with Uther banned, is perfect for them. And then Anub consistently, reasonably short cooldown stuns to interrupt that whirlwind.
Now, if you expect that MVP Black is banning Uther to enable a stun composition and then picking a lot of those things, it makes a lot of sense to take Sonya earlier. She is one of the few heroes, together with Arthas, that can still independently reduce the amount of stun and, stun and slow times against herself with her level 10 Wrath of the Berserker. So there's definitely some going on there. With that,
so one of the things I want to point out is I talked about how they traditionally run a lot of Tyrael for MVP Black, and I just checked the notes. This is the first game on record in competitively that we're going to see Tist, presumably, who's their main warrior, play Anubarak.
Oh.
First time.
It
has been far and away, just Korea has kind of avoided it, the top 2 teams especially.
Well, that makes sense, because 2 days ago in the interviews, MVP Black said they didn't have much practice going into this tournament. They're going to see how other people play. Kind of the same answer that Dignitas gave to a degree. They want to see how the meta shakes out in the group. And then they said, unlike what Dignitas necessarily said, they said, and we're going to be able to adapt that very easily. Whatever people play, we'll copy it, we'll play it well.
Really interesting. They also have a Lunara as the ban here. Good sustain damage, someone who's very difficult for Sonya to keep up with and keep her Wrath of the Berserker up on it consistently. So a good ban out there. And there's that Tyrael ban by MVP Black. We were considering it for them. It does work exceptionally well with Sonya, though, so solid ban overall.
I mean, the fact that they could potentially just dive in and keep Genji alive as well, as you meant. Like, both of those want to go in very deep, so...
I kind of expect an Arthas or Diablo coming out to pair up with Sonya. They're both pretty good against the kind of heavy blow-up that MVP Black might be bringing out here.
I think Arthas, traditionally for them, it's something that they have run, and as you said, it complements a lot of what they want to do, plus it has great shrine clear. So I'd be really surprised if they go away from that. They do lock in the Leoric.
That is double solo laner potential for them there, so they can, in theory, run a 1-1-3. If they wanted to.
I wonder if they were worried about Sonya being the pick so early, so maybe down the line there was going to be something in an attempt to try and deal with Sonya. So they wanted options on that solo lane, but it's an interesting one.
Leoric is also one of the best heroes to try and deal with Arthas, as we were mentioning, to be a hero maybe picked against the Sonya due to the draining.
I mean, I'm a crazy person. Every time I see a Sonya early in a draft, I'm like, I'm going Rexar, this is going to be great. And actually, Leoric technically is a really good answer to that, but that's definitely not the route of thinking that was going down here.
I wonder if MVP Black will pick up Tychus, because SPT's draft is smelling like Triple Warrior. With saving the proper main tank, you've got two kind of bruisery warriors in Sonya and Leoric. Arthas or Diablo looking like the third. So taking Tychus here, that's the last chance you'll have, because they need to pick both here.
And Greymane.
Right,
it is not out of the norm, by the way, for SPT to go with Leoric as the solo main tank, and they have Sonya for the extra tankiness here. So it's not super out of the norm, so they could do that.
I mean, to what Grubby's saying, though, if they did go down that path, that could be the little bit of a surprise factor to try and throw MVP Black off. But it's, as you were saying, there's still norms there for SPT.
I'd be really surprised if this is Triple Warrior Genji. It'd be a very different... I mean, if you're trying to shake things up, then by all means go for it. They're going Sylvanas.
First Sylvanas of the tournament.
So they have some of the best shrine clear in the game, and now some of the best follow-up for it. They can disable the forts, dive that with Genji and Sonya, and that is terrifying. That is not something you want to deal with. And Super Perfect Team have been the team that ran mind control with Sylva in the past. Unlikely here, because it was picked mostly as a counter to Lucio, because the second he speed boost, you mind control him and speed boost him into your team. That is how they ran it. But in this case, the option's there, but if not, Wailing Arrow, pretty good heroic.
I like how in that instance, you get the level 20 for free on that mind control. There you go. just against Lucio alone.
Speed it up a little bit. I mean, for what it's worth, on the opposite end, though, Dahaka, Tassadar, Greymane, that's not too shabby at all when it comes to clear, and Mouth. So I mean, the thing about it is, this is one of Tassadar's better maps. Before we saw him rebuffed, you know, his Sandstorm and stuff like that actually do really well to contribute to the wave clear.
So it feels like SPT here going kind of for the objectives, but are you afraid on the other side for MVP if they just exert the pressure and take a team fight and win it out? Sylvanas isn't that great in that air for a while.
They do have Genji, though, to maybe make up for it. They may just be trying to balance it out.
I think MVP Black can choose to initiate and disengage more easily than what SPT can. And they both have 4 heroes that have really good wave clear, but the difference is that SPT has 4 sustained damage over time wave clear, whereas MVP Black has 3, and Greymane, he has instant damage. And why that matters is everyone brings the skeletons from 100% to 80, 20, 10. Greymane can be like Cocktail or like Work and Cleave, and he'll finish it off. So he has the potential to steal a lot of Shrine minions. So I wonder if Sylvanas can actually get enough.
Predictions?
I'm going to go with MVP Black because MVP Black.
That's fair.
I'm going to show some regional pride. I think if Super Perfect Team can win the first Punisher, they can maybe get some snowballing. I'm going with Super Perfect Team.
Some regional pride.
There's going to be a lot of confused people out there.
I cast China, to be clear, to explain that.
It's like regional pride. I'm from England. This is my Chinese representative.
Eat Chinese food sometimes.
Love it, love it.
Panda Express. No, but
oh yeah, that's so Chinese.
That's all him. But to get to the point here, I do believe MVP Black will win this. I do worry. This isn't the draft I would have expected from them, but I do like MVP Black because MVP Black.
Right. Well, thank you very much, gents. Time now to head over to the casters team in just a second as we check in with these predictions from the chat over there as well. And not very surprisingly, we do have MVP Black soaring ahead. I'm trying to concentrate, but the Chinese team is super loud right now.
Can you hear yourself?
I'm doing my best. All right, we're going over to the commentary team of Kaldor and Trixler for this awesome game.
Well, as Techa is rooting for his home country, we are going to see if MVP Black today can get a couple of wins under their belt, because let's face it, yesterday they struggled quite a bit.
Yeah, they were on the struggle bus, and today they are looking to take the bus and run forward against SPT. Here they are on the left. Malady will be on Genji, Wings will be on Sonya, Z will be on Rhaegar, Simba on Leoric, and Xian Zhao will be on Sylvanas.
And to the right side of our first map here in the series, we have MVP Black with Kyoja on Dehaka, Meride on Malfurion, on Nubarak, Sake on Tacita, and Reset on Greymane.
I'm very curious to see how SPT is going to pull this off. This is a very all-in draft for me. They are definitely going in for the map objective, and they hope to achieve it. And I like the call here. Typically, with them not having Misaka here, they mentioned they were struggling. They were really scared here to actually go into drafts and not have a leader. They're taking initiative and putting it in their own hands here with the roster they have, and I kind of like it.
They want to make it to the main events, and we always talk about Sylvanas being a huge game changer on a lot of these maps, and Inferno Shrines, of course, is one of the prime examples next to Battlefield of Eternity. If you can push with the map objective here, you can accomplish a lot, but first of all, they need to win that map objective, and that's where MVP Black is going to try and wrench into their plans.
Yeah, so I'll be keeping an eye on Sonya and Rhaegar in particular to get those clears going in and see if SPT can pull it off. For now, they're playing relatively safe, and you know what? Against MVP Black, why not? Play safe here and just wait till the Shrine phase. Don't lose any members on the field here. You don't have the best team fight. I mean, honestly, you look at the competition right now, and Rhaegar and Sonya are probably the ones that do the most damage here in the early game.
Yeah, right now already. Oh, the drag against Leoric, not hitting Melody C here. Kyoja at least getting Leoric and some free damage. The one thing for Black is that they need to really show up today. Yesterday was a bit of a disappointment to them that they were not able to take down Roll20 with a 2-0. So I'm pretty sure there were a couple of harsh words between yesterday's match and today. They need to show up, and they need to prove that they are the team that really wants to win the tournament. And they start off with a kill against Simba here in the mid lane.
Yeah, it's a good start here for MVP Black, and it goes back to the interviews that we had with them the other day. They were mentioning this group, easy. That was their response. We can take them on easily, and Roll20 obviously showing maybe it's not as easy as they would think. Coming into game 2 or day number 2, they definitely want to make sure that they show that they are top dog in this group.
There's a reason why the Korean teams are so confident. They're traditionally extremely strong, but as we could see yesterday, maybe that led to a bit of overconfidence, them underestimating Roll20 and losing a map. And of course, our panel and us yesterday, we talked a lot about how important every single map is in this best-of-2 format here. At this point, both the teams on level 4 grabbing the extra talent. We're heading into the first Shrine phase. Kyoja at the top lane actually falling. Good kill for the Chinese team as SPT takes the first kill on their side.
But the problem is MVP Black here on the bottom has started the Shrine phase, and this is what we wanted to have be used here for SPT. Now, they are countering here with the kills they had in the top. Good pickup for Dehaka, and they go ahead and push in the top right corner. They're putting some pressure on the turrets, looking for maybe the fort. Tiss taking some damage here. Whoa, maybe there for a little bit longer than they should have been.
Yeah, Tiss actually nearly falling here. And you know what SPT is doing is they're trying to just simply get ahead. They are currently an entire level ahead. So they do something that we see also a lot from the European teams. If you're in Infernal Shrines, you can give up the first Punisher, especially if you run Sylvanas, and just simply say, guys, we go to the other end of the map, and we're going to get structural damage. Let our opponent take the first Punisher, defend against it. Overall, we will either come out even or even a little bit ahead.
Well, so far they're getting the fort burned down, but not as even as you would think here with Greymane and Malfurion pushing in the bottom lane. They're being pretty aggressive here with the Punisher. Finally, SPT will commit to this fort and start applying pressure, but the moment that happens, Kyoja steps forward and gets on that Sylvanas.
Oh, Sylvanas falling. Huge problem here in this situation. Did not move back, and it looks like we're going to see a double kill as CZH is also dying. It's a 2-4-1 as Tassadar falls, but Genji also eliminated, makes it 3 kills in favor of MVP Black.
And they didn't get the fort. Now, that fort is down to 1 HP. That will go down eventually, give them the experience, but SPT committed on an idea, and they whiffle-waffled a little bit too much overall, and eventually came to a point where they lost 3 members and didn't get the fort.
I mean, just think about how this all of a sudden turned. We see once again the fort up at the top lane being attacked here as Sake joins in with the rest of the team, and that triple kill led to them reversing the situation. Before the Punisher moved in at the bot lane, it was a 1-level lead on the side of SPT, and now the situation has been completely reversed as Black takes the 1-level lead over their Chinese opponent. Level 8 versus 7 now.
And I love how they're identifying where Sylvanas is at and putting multiple resources there. They want to make sure to shut down the Sylvanas, because if you shut down her, you shut down the entire composition of what SPT has, especially here in the early game. Reset and crew continue to come in the middle. 5 people here for MVP Black. Root comes out, Rhaegar low, and he gets picked off. Oh, a tongue comes out too.
Might be another kill. Sonya in trouble, trying to whirlwind through, but this is an entire 5-man that MVP Black sends into the mid lane, and that's another confirmed kill, and this now adds up to 6 kills against 2. So MVP Black very dominant here in the early stages, taking another fort as Leoric moves to the top to finally take down the fort that we've been talking about a bit earlier, as that Sylvanas push was not able to destroy it.
Yeah, Simba will help out SPT in terms of experience, but again, you're right, they're still a full level behind. 10 about to hit here for MVP Black, and they're taking the map. In terms of mercenary camps here in the middle, potentially they can move in the bottom as well, keep that pressure going. With the Haka on the field too, this is getting scary.
Level 10 is there, and immediately they engage with a Cocoon.
Right on point here. Reset ready to jump in with the root.
Yeah, takes the root down, and immediately we have another kill. Genji has no chance of escaping here. Well done by Black. 7 kills against 2, a 2-level lead, and the heroic ability as another shrine opens up on the map. Black looking really strong here in the first game of the day for them.
And Black has multiple options here. They can move in from mercenary camps, go for kills, while leaving one person on top of the shrine, and they do so now. They leave Greymane there. They put some pressure on this top right as Kyocha runs on in with the aid of Malfurion to clear up the mercenary camp. And they also put 2 people in the bottom. So they're soaking 3 lanes here so far. They're clearing out the shrine, and they're being disruptive to their opponents. MVP Black is on point.
They're looking incredibly dominant right now. They invade the camp at the bot lane. Force wall being used. Rhaegar trying to escape. No chance for him. And MVP Black is just getting kill after kill here. We also have Sylvanas and even more jobless. Sake moves in another force wall, and that's the end. This is insane. Black is just getting 1 kill after another. The Koreans are looking so dominant right now. Killing Leoric also up at the top. This is a disaster for SPT.
Yeah, they're just falling over. Wings is being chased down by Reset. Won't be a kill, but still, you can get a feel for how this game is going. SPT is running away constantly, and they drafted a composition that they needed to have a lead with. They needed to be in control with. I don't see them being in a spot here where they can get a major comeback without any weird mishaps from MVP Black.
Yeah, there's also a lot of other things that play into this. By now, we finally have Super Perfect Team on level 10s. They have their heroic abilities. But
late.
Also, exactly, first of all, it's late since MVP Black is so far ahead. But also when you look at, oh, we have Leap taken on the side of Sonya.
Wow.
I was just about to say
X-Strike.
X-Strike, Leap, and Entomb. I think together with the Wailing Arrow, this is all designed to just be that wombo combo approach towards a team fight. The problem is, if that misses, then it's more or less lights out. You have this one shot to make it happen by using the cooldowns and synergizing well. And if you miss that opportunity, then Black is just simply going to take you apart in the team fight.
Yep, one opportunity here for SPT. Pray and kill, basically. Land that on Tomb. Sonya follows up with the leap onto Rhaegar in particular. Go for the X-Strike and hope to get a kill. We'll see if they can pull it off here as MVP Black pushes in. Here's the leap. It lands on Tassadar. He does get killed off there. Nice pickup. Sonya, though, biting the dust.
Not enough. Sonya down. It's a 1-for-1 trade, and we have the Punisher jumping into the backline, trying to take Simba down now, and is very likely to get the kill. Not quite, as Rhaegar comes in with the heal. Simba moves onto the Arcane Sentry. That was nearly his demise. Rhaegar falling instead, and MVP Black goes through the first keep of the game 8 minutes into.
And they get a 3-level lead as the reward. So Catapult's pushing in the middle now. They also were aided by Mercenaries in the bottom and the middle. Sylvanas will run down and clear that out. The execution from SPT was pretty solid, but Cocoon, enough to make sure that Genji wasn't getting any disruption on the back line, and MVP Black answered back.
We are 8.5 minutes into the game and we have 15 kills already. MVP Black is so dominant at this point. We didn't even have time to talk about the talent choices here. If you look at SPT, for example, we have on Leoric a very old build with Hardened Bones and also the Lingering Apparition. We've seen a few things that went away from the Drain Hope focus that we usually see, especially with Fnatic using the Royal Focus, something that we have seen a bit more in the European scene. And the whole idea of that build is to just simply get wave claim. But SPT right now, they don't get a whole lot out of the Hardened Bones combo that they're trying to use here. They just barely escape with Genji, and Dehaka actually falling at the bot lane as SPT is starting to show some signs of life and try to use Sylvanas with her trade to at least push through the bot lane, but they have to defend the keep eventually.
SPT is actually just laughing right now. They feel like they're losing. I saw them giggling over there. It's like, oh my gosh, this isn't going so well for us. MVP Black is in the top left. I remember it did fall. Dehaka got picked off, but SPT goes for the engage in the bottom right. And you know what? With Sylvanas, this is probably the best call they can make.
Yeah, I actually thought they would be a bit farther ahead with the push-up at the top already. That wasn't the case, so MVP Black had to move back here, since Sylvanas is, of course, a huge game changer in these situations. But now they're moving back once again. Didn't get the keep, but were at least able to push MVP Black back from the top lane push that they were trying to execute. Cocoon, on the other hand, once again, the attempt to force the fight.
And they turn around, they clear it up, so we're going to have Sonya retreating, especially with Xin Zhao here, retreating too, but Sake comes from the side with a wall to lock in the fight.
Kyoja also moving in, Sylvanas down already, Kyoja looking for potential drag here. Simba moves away, the force wall not stopping him, of course. Mid lane, heavy pressure building up as we have the waves pushing towards the core, and then the top lane, a very similar picture is unfolding. In the bottom of the map, on the other hand, another Immortal is being attacked by, or another Punisher is about to be gotten by MVP Black.
We did miss off camera, though. Grammy was coming in for a flank on the top left alongside Tassadar, but he was picked up by Sonya leaping in, going in for the kill. So SPT was able to take out Greymane, but still, you're right. The map, too much pressure on it. MVP Black has free pickings here on the Shrine phase. They're already ahead, 35-0. Will continue to clear, can start pushing bottom.
I'm also really worried about this 2-level lead that we see here. The level 16 talent alone is such a huge spike that we now have also on the side of MVP Black. They have on Tassadar alone on 13, the nullification that really helps to mitigate some of the damage that SPT can push out in these fights. And the Psionic Echo now taken on 16. Anubarak by now with the Epicenter, focusing very hard with this build on the Burrow charge, even on level 4, going straight for the Under King, so trying to dive that backline with a Cocoon. And MVP Black is just looking absolutely dominant here for SPT.
Yeah.
This is really rough to defend now.
All the points that you bring up, MVP Black has hit 16. They've hit a lot of marks here where they get stronger on that dive that you were mentioning. SPT will have a difficult time holding, but they're going to attempt to do so here in the bottom left. Remember, they still have their combo here of Sonya leap into an X-Strike. They could go in for an aggressive play. So far, they've been focusing Tassadar. They jump in, and we're going to see Greymane sneak on by.
Nice move saving Greymane here as well. They go in, Leoric goes down, and so does Sonya. Well played, as Sylvanas is the next target of Reset, and he gets the kill. That's a quad kill as we have Rhaegar falling. And this might be the beginning of the end here.
It's looking like it. This keep in trouble. Kyoja already leading the charge as they head in for the core. Around 12 minutes, this could be the game here for MVP Black, especially with Reset here on Greymane. There it is, burning down the core, 70, 60, 50. And MVP Black is in dominant fashion today.
17 kills against 5 as MVP Black takes game number 1. SPT just not showing up strong enough to play on even footing against them. We had Drain Hope on Leoric on level 13. I have to understand that the Leoric build in particular threw me off quite a bit. I don't really think they synergized well with what they had. They look not really too upset though. It looks like that was a calculated loss.
Yeah, this felt like it wasn't going to go too well for them. They had that call in the top right corner where they went in the fort, but unfortunately not able to get it in time, and it seemed to really snowball from there. But let's hear from our panel and what they think about that game.
Thank you very much, boys. Yeah, indeed, we see MVP Black winning game number 1. And let's just address this now, whilst they're still very loud. I've never seen a team have more fun losing a game to MVP Black. They were all smiles. They're all laughing. They're still very loud. They're having a good time.
Yeah, absolutely. That really shines here. They're laughing. They're animated. You've got a lot of teams that just start getting really quiet and silent because they're either embarrassed or sad. They're having fun. Every kill they got, they just went right in there. Entomb, leap, silence, and they're laughing.
It was a YOLO comp. And they were making YOLO calls with the YOLO comp. It was super fun to watch. And they were having a good time with it. So win or a loss, good on them. They have high spirits, and that is positive for them. Because like you said, you can sometimes defeat yourself with attitude.
I did like their attempt to delay when they were going for the keep down towards the bottom and just keeping Genji to try and delay as much as possible.
Or we're just back to like, just poke, poke. Yeah. But I mean, think about it. I mean, they realize where they lie against MVP Black. They said that if they can make top 8, get Masaka back, then maybe they'll be a little bit different, I guess, into these situations.
So they're trying to pick burst comp. They're trying to pick like something that can maybe get them a free win, like a cheap win to get 1 point, because it needs little points to get that top 8.
I mean, aside from the blow-up potential of a Leap X Strike, which, you know, is not something that we're likely to be seeing too much in this tournament. Sylvanas is a hero that if you can grab a little bit of a lead somewhere, she can snowball it for you a bit. So it makes sense as a compositional pick when you're going up against a team that you think is probably better than you.
Yeah, you know, exactly. I guess so. Like, if MVP Black hasn't completely rubbed the sand out of their eyes yet from waking up this morning, you can kind of get an early lead. Sylvanas can do that. So I guess it absolutely was the right approach, as was their mentality.
So guys, what other maps is Sylvanas good on?
No, I think they might try something different. We'll see. But yeah, we are going on to Battlefield of Eternity. Other than a potential Sylvanas, what do you think could come out here for SPT? And likewise, even MVP Black.
I can tell you the stuff they've run before, which in one case has been they went up against a very heavy, aggressive, immortal push multiple melee, like I believe it was triple, maybe quadruple melee, and that is the game that they went Toad Zebo on. They're very keen on Nazebo on this map in general in terms of sieging the Immortal, usually with Spider build. Very happy to go with Ravenous Spirit if they think they can avoid the CC. So Nazebo would be good.
I'll take that. We never see Ravenous Spirit anymore. I feel like every day I talk to you, Tetra, you're like, do you hear what China did this time? Like, Ravenous Spirit Nazebo, Twin Blades Variant.
What will happen next week on China's Gone Heroes?
I mean, it's crazier than the Bold and the Beautiful.
China's Gone Heroes.
China's Gone Heroes? I don't know.
Not Heroes Gone China?
Heroes Gone China? I don't know. Look, right, don't analyze my silly jokes, all right? There's nothing to them. I'm not a funny person. Don't go there. All right, so on the side of MVP Black, though, what are their preferences here when we're going into Battlefield?
First of all, how do we think they looked, Black, in the previous game? Like, they did what they were expected to, but they had some funny deaths, right?
I sort of feel like they were having fun as well. I mean, not underestimating their opponents by any means, but just understanding that they were against a very interesting composition.
Yeah.
And as such, they were approaching it also in interesting ways.
They were laughing at one point when their grey main got blown up.
Yes. All right, into the draft. Game number 2.